right before the pledge.
Good morning. We have some people who are just ready to go, and my clock says 10 o'clock, but the screen says 10:04. Which one am I supposed to use? I'm going by mine because it's the closest. I'm going to call this meeting to order for capital improvements in IT at 10:01. Thank you for standing for the pledge. We're all ready to go. Member Williams, would you like to say the pledge for us?
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And Sandy, can I have a roll call, please? Oh, I have to turn you on. Okay, there you go. Thanks, Tim.
Axley,
Yes.
Ballich,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yeah.
Bullock,
Present.
Costa, Revis,
Here.
Freeman.
Present. Next up, we have the approval of minutes from January 6th. Can I get a motion? Motion by Ballich, second by Costa. Can I get a roll call, please?
Axley,
Yes.
Ballich,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Bullock,
Yes.
Costa. Revis.
Yes.
Freeman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. Next up is public comment. Do I have any public comment? Public comment going once, going twice? No public comment. Old business, we have our facilities update, and I think we have a substitute today. We'll try to take it easy on you. Please introduce yourself because some of might not know you on this committee.
Assistant Director of Facilities.
Good morning, everyone.
All right. And we have a PowerPoint for this one, and, oh, Tim's already got you turned on. Ken.
Okay. This is just our first slide here for the VAC Center. You can see the roof replacement is complete, the glass is complete. Interior spaces are still underway. Moving date, February 2026.
Do we have a solid date on that yet, or are we still working on that?
Looking at the
Because we
25th.
still have, like, some things are still, in interior spaces are still being worked out.
Yes, yes, they are, and they're looking for a 25th of February for a move-in date.
Okay,
Sorry, Ken had to pinch hit with
Thank you.
Bill. And so Bill and I went over this, so I'll sit up here if you have any questions.
so it's February 25th. Will we be getting an invite for the,
We're gonna be moving in and then there will be, and they will be doing operations there, but we're gonna give them some time to get underway before we do kind of a ribbon cutting.
so ribbon cutting, have
We
it for
haven't
March?
planned it yet. That's gonna be coordinated with BAC and Workforce.
I'm really excited, you know.
I was just there last Friday. It looks great.
Yeah, the pictures do too,
Yeah.
so.
There's just some couple things left on the punch list and should be good to go February 25th for moving. So
And that's move in.
move in. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And these are pictures. So you guys can see the improvements.
I have a silly question. Stop right
Oh,
there.
go back, gotta turn yourself on, Dawn. Dawn, go ahead.
Hi, just a silly question. The picture, go up one to the, sorry, I always, that way, yeah. There. Is that like a border going all the way around? What is that? Are we fixing it? Is it what is that?
Are you talking about the wallpaper?
That, is that, yeah, up at the top, yeah,
Oh, yeah, the softened wallpaper. That's just wallpaper.
that's wallpaper.
It was wallpaper.
No, it is.
It's still wallpaper. It's got a weird reflectiveness to it, so it doesn't show up well in pictures, but it's not drywall problems.
Yeah, it does look like a lot of patching. All right.
It was a bit outdated as far as decor goes. So they're,
Isn't that new?
It was an existing building. Not everything's been done, right? We stayed under budget or at budget. So some carpeting has been replaced, some carpeting's just been shampooed. When you remove wallpaper like that, then you're talking about removing the drywall because it's gonna take,
Okay.
so there are some things that have just been cleaned and kept. So like that's new carpeting there. Existing tile for the bathrooms. New carpeting on the left, existing hallway carpeting on the right.
This was one of our main accomplishments at the courthouse. This was a couple years in the making. We did this in-house, the facilities maintenance staff, and we utilized the sheriff's maintenance craftsmen. They made the frames for us and hung them on the wall with the help of our midnight shift. And we put these up in the courthouse on the 3rd floor on the wall, and we have all the judges from day one to current. There's a few of them that are out of order, we were just told, so they're gonna have to be reselected and put back in order. But we got that completed in-house. And originally, we got a quote. It was pretty expensive. It was over like $18,000 for a contractor to do it. So we elected, like I said, to use the sheriff's carpentry staff and our guys, and we did it for a fraction of the cost in-house, and they loved it. This will be coming up now. We have a new life safety specialist, Aaron Kozlowski. So you can see in that newsletter, he will be conducting classes every other Tuesday for about an hour, hour and a half. He's going to be starting fire drills in all of our county buildings, stop the bleed classes, first aid. So we're just getting Aaron on board. He's been with us for a few months right now, but he's doing great. And a snapshot of a day in our facility department. We have completed over 750 work orders at a cost of roughly $16 with a 98% completion rate. The courthouse, we saved to date over $118,000 in evaporation credits on our cooling towers. And every year the price goes up. We're really doing good with that. The lighting project at the Record Archives is completed for the garage and for the exterior entrances. The facilities team is working with the contractor. We're upgrading all of our water softening systems throughout the county. So anything that's outdated needs work. We have a good, reliable company that's coming in, and we're going through all of our systems. And of course, the veterans VAC, the build out is progressing. Everything looks good, and we anticipate, we can't wait for the move in. Thank you.
I agree with that. I do have a question on
ma'am.
the
What's it?
health department, because I do understand, I got my picture taken with it when I was there at the end of the month, last month. The elevator has been repaired.
Correct.
And did we find out how much that was?
I don't have.
I know that they were like, it's gonna cost a lot of money, and then they weren't sure when I was there.
Boy, I'm gonna ballpark it. I think it was about 18 to 20,000.
So that's way under like the 30 or 40 we were thinking.
Yeah, or the over $1 million to replace.
Right.
So I think they got to the root cause of the issue from the initial install and were able to repair it.
Okay. And we did find out that it is a suitable elevator for its space,
Correct.
which was
yes.
really good
There
news.
was some divergence from the plan for construction versus the elevator that was installed, and they were able to rehabilitate it.
Does anyone have any questions? Herb, you have your light on. Mr. Brooks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ken and Mike, you guys said February 25 will be the move-in date for the VAC. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
And then they'll be up in operation before the ribbon cutting. The public is invited. The space that they're moving out of on Glenwood, were we leasing that?
That was all lease space, correct?
That was all leased, so we don't own that.
Yep, and so we will avoid paying any March 1 tenant payments on that.
Right. Oh, Mark, okay, good. All right, thank
So
you, gentlemen.
Yep, so the move-in date, it gives us as much time to wrap up any punch list things in February, but also avoid paying another month's rent. So that was our goal.
I do too. It's our goal, right?
And the moving period will, I think it's the 25th or 27th. It's going to be a little bit of work.
All right. I don't see any other questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on, AI policy. We have Jason from IT here today. Bring him on up. Jason has found an ordinance from San Diego. It was attached with all this light reading for AI. I do think it is at the very bottom as far as the attachments. I thought it was very good. It's very detailed. It does cover a lot of the things that we were talking about. I also talked to Mr. McGrath because do we do an ordinance? Do we do a policy? And from what I was grasping is for us, for our purposes, I think we're leaning more towards a policy. So I'll butcher it if I try to explain it. Would you mind explaining that, Mr. Grath? You'll have to, oh, you're still on. Good deal.
Basically, a lot of what I talked to, and this was right before the meeting today. So when I talked to Member Freeman, the issue that comes to my mind is what is the purpose of doing an ordinance? Like, what are you trying to control or regulate? Is it directed at third parties, that is individuals and or businesses outside of the county? Because that's a different animal, and depending upon what you're trying to do, and I'm not sure what that would be, that would require some type of an ordinance. Again, what you're trying to control or regulate, you would have to look at that closely as to whether you would have the power to even do whatever it is. But if you're just trying to regulate what the county is doing in-house, all you need is a policy. Because an ordinance telling the county what the county can do, all that does is create the possibility of some third party filing a lawsuit against the county, which would have to be defended. Then you've got the state's attorney's office being conflicted out because we can't sue. We can't both represent and sue. We can't sue and defend the county, obviously. So we'd have to get somebody from the outside, the appellate prosecutor's office or some other outside attorney to represent the county. The reality is that if we're trying to govern ourselves, a policy does very well with that. The matter would be how well is the policy going to be enforced internally, but that would be the same issue if a county, if the county is someone from the inside, someone from one of the departments, an employee, a county board member is trying to do that with an ordinance, you have the same issue. So in my opinion, all you do with an ordinance is create potential legal issues that you don't need and don't have to create. You can do the same exact thing with the policy, and that makes more sense to me if all you're trying to do is have the county regulate itself.
If people didn't have questions for Mr. McGrath while he's here, because I think that made sense. Mr. Balich.
Yeah, I like the stuff that I see when I read it. It's like concise and it's everything we've talked about. So I would like to make a motion to direct our chief of staff to write a policy, and I don't know the next word, resolution or ordinance, but it's a policy. And we can bring it to the full board and vote on it, because that's very concise of our conversation.
I like your motion. I also want to hear from Jason. So, yeah.
I'll second that. If we're discussing, so that means discussion.
Yeah, because nothing is here. This is just discussion. So when Mr. Balich makes a motion, does that change the direction of our discussion?
No.
To make a policy that we can vote for?
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
You're talking about writing a policy.
right.
Let me talk.
Okay. Mr. Revis, let me get you on. You're 4. Go ahead, Mr. Revis.
Okay, just need my okay, there we go.
I like what Member Balich is thinking, but I don't think that's right to have Chuck do it. I know he's a brilliant chief of staff and all. I actually think that we, as the policymakers, need to sit here and put our brain together. We made a great strides at our last meeting. I had a couple items I wanted to bring up that'll fall in the discussion. We should probably listen to Jason first, but I don't think we should put that onus on Chuck, at least at the point we're at right now. We need more to flesh this out more as a body, and it gives us a good chance to work together on something policy related that I know we all have been talking about wanting to do. So
That's kind of like where I was. We've got Jason here. I want to hear more from him. So
Madam Chair.
go ahead.
So again, too, just to echo what Member Revis was saying, what you have before you are like the directives in terms of how to develop the policy. What you want to do is an overview on how you want to move forward with the policy. I think that however you choose to move forward, whether it's through the committee process or whether it's through, IT bringing something forward as well, but your policy itself, I think would be much more detailed than essentially these overviews.
Right. Okay. Any other questions for Mr. McGrath? Is it a question for Mr. McGrath?
I just have a comment.
Okay, I'll get there. So I think you're good.
Okay, thank you.
Out of here. All right. Back to Mr. Balich.
So when I said direct Chuck, I figured that whatever we have to have somewhere to start, a basis, right? So if we use that as the basis of our policy, we can add to it. And then at the time when we're all done adding to it or taking away, I don't see what we would take away out of there. But adding or whatever, like Mark has some new ideas and whatever. But at that point, we could vote to bring it to the full county board because we need to have something. And everything that we talked about before is in this. So,
Yes.
I see it's very concise, but if Mark has other things, there's no problem to add to it, especially if it's a policy. And if we do it through the committee instead of Chuck, we can decide as a committee when it's time to move it to the full board.
Right.
I mean, I don't care which way it
I
goes.
have
I
you
just
down
want
as
to get
having
it
made a
over.
motion. We have it seconded. We're discussing that. And let's see what else we get and where we need.
tell me when
to
you
go.
want me to share my thoughts.
Okay, we're getting there. First, I'm gonna go to Jason and let him share his, and then we're gonna go.
Does he have anything?
Oh, and then Jim, yes. All right, so yeah, go ahead, Mr. Richmond.
Thank you very much. So, I mean, AI has been thrown around there for a couple years now, and a lot of people hear about it, don't, have a deep dive into it or where it's going to go or what it's going to do for us as a society and humanity. However, though, I do want to reflect on the fact that we don't want to take away technology advancements that are going to enhance us. Because if that's the case, we'd still be looking at Encyclopedia Britannicas and pushing around these interoffice yellow envelopes with a bunch of signatures moving around through places. Technology has brought us a lot of efficiencies and streamlined a lot of processes. I remember when I first started out in an office, we didn't have email. I mean, a fax was like the coolest thing you could get. And, but look at where we're at today. You can pick up your device. It has more functionality than just about anything I could even imagine. And we expect that to be at our fingertips. So I think what we have to do is make sure that we don't blur the lines of artificial intelligence and technology advancements. That's all I have to say. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Revis.
I just wanted to say one quick thing to that, Jim. I don't know if you're staying with the debate and the discussion, but and it's not to like dismiss what you just said, because what you said is accurate, but sometimes finding efficiencies has resulted in a lot of pain for the public. There were efficiencies that came when call centers overseas came around. Meanwhile, that eliminated a whole section of legitimate, good paying jobs for our people. You continually find efficiencies overseas, whatever it is, and our people suffer. I could pull up, I just had it. It won't take long. Give me a sec. AI is replacing jobs, and there's a whole list of them. Delay. Not, okay, here it is. The U.S. government is about to lose 307,000 employees. U.S. UPS, 78,000 employees, Amazon, 30,000 employees, Intel, 25, Nissan, 20, Nestle, 16, these are all 1,000. 16,000, Microsoft, 15,000, Bosch, 13,000, Dell, 12,000, Verizon.
AI.
This is all from AI replacement.
Okay.
We have to realize that this technology is something that we haven't dealt with before, and it has sentient properties that can replace human beings at a grander scale than any other technology that we've seen up until this point. I'm not trying to be anti-efficiency when I say something like, I don't think AI should be allowed to replace human jobs. I still think we need to rely on AI in the ways we can get an advantage, but we have to defend human beings and people first. So that's all I wanted to throw out there,
I have
because
to-
I'm going to keep coming back to it. I'm not, I've had a lot of people talk to me about this, very respected Republicans who are concerned with what I'm thinking on this, but I'm not. This is what the people want.
address
So
me. I agree. We have to keep the human factor in all things. We are a government entity, and everything I have read at this point says the human factor. You can use AI. You have to have a human factor double check it, because we are a government entity. I am going to probably make some other board members a little upset right now. I'm going to keep questions right now based on our committee, and then I will branch out. But I am going to also put a hold on it, and I would like Jason's input because he is here, and I think we can get very spread out. And also I am here, Mr. Oxley.
I get to address.
He was going to address me, and we're going to go ahead. You will have a chance in a little bit, Jim. Thank you. Mr. Oxley and I are here. We are happy to address, but please, all comments need to come to us. And Jason, please let us know what you think about AI.
I thought you guys did an excellent job last month. I listened to the meeting and you guys brought up some very excellent points. This is a great start. So I commend you for that. You guys took the material that you guys had, and these are very good first steps. Couple of things that I kind of glared out at me was there was no mention of training in this. And if you look at some of those policies, training definitely needs to be part of your policy. Employees and electeds need to know what AI is, how it functions, and how to use it properly. If you look at some of those policies that you guys are referencing, you'll see that in there. So that's one thing that I would add to this list
I can agree with that.
is annual training, sort of like we get annual training and sexual harassment training and those kind of things. It's very important because I think you brought up, Mr. Balich, you don't know if it is AI, how do you detect that? Last month, I know you brought that up a couple times when you're Googling something. Is it actually real or is it AI? And that's what that training is, gives you an educated way of looking at it and going, no, this is probably AI. I shouldn't use this in any of my decision making. The other part that I would add is there are different types of AI. So you have machine learning type of AI, which is more of the analytical part. And a lot of that we use today. A lot of our applications, Microsoft uses it today. Spell check, if you're using spell check, your cell phone uses machine learning. It's basically reading the data on your device and telling you what to do next, kind of giving you suggestions. That is one piece of AI. And then there's the Gen AI, which is the generative piece where it's actually creating content. So that needs to be defined in the policy as well. Which one, is which and how that is part of your policy going forward. I know there was a lot of discussion last month about not taking the analytical part away, but when it comes to generative, it needs to be marked that it's being generated by AI. That's
state law.
yeah. And that's a great piece to that in that policy, because if you guys set that, it'll be in there. The other thing that I just wanted to bring up was about the backup piece of that. So currently, all the county things are currently backed up, but they're based on a records management retention policy. So depending on what it is, and it's whatever type of data it is, there's different retention periods. So it's not necessarily held forever. So just be careful when you make a policy that you're not already bypassing the statute for that particular piece of data. That was my only other suggestion is when you're talking about backups or keeping source material, you have to follow the state's records management policies, and those are set by statute. So you could either have that in there where it is saved per the the policy or the statute by whatever that data is. And that's probably as far as I would take it. The other part of that is data. How Gen AI and machine learning works is what does it have access to? So as a policy, we kind of do this just ad hoc right now. We don't really allow any, like our existing AI, which I know we're going to talk about here in a little bit, to contact really any other data that you don't already have permission to. So there has to be some guidelines that have to be created for, so let's say you're working in HR. You don't necessarily want your AI to be able to reach into an employee database and grab a bunch of things if you're generating something, because it may pull things into there. Or where that data is stored as well. Is that data stored in a US-based data center somewhere? Or is it stored in China? And those are all those different programs that we have to look at. So we've been trying, like as people have been coming up to us and asking, and mostly it's transcription software. We're looking for like a FedRAMP certification. So that's a certification that these software companies go out and actually look to the federal government for their purposes. And we're not saying that they're perfect, but that's at least a starting point for us. Is we know that that data, if it is FedRAMP certified, it's stored in the US because it has to be. And those kind of things are a little bit more controlled as far as where that data goes. And where does it stay? How long does it stay there? Can it be used by anybody else? Is it training the model? There's a lot of different things in there that you have to be aware of when we're picking softwares. That's about it.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
I know.
I had read about the training seems to be in all the things
Yeah.
that are attached to the agenda today.
Yep.
And there are definitions for the different types of AI. So do we need to, when you say the different types of AI need to be defined, do we also need to say which ones are acceptable?
I think when you're designing a policy, you don't necessarily need to say what's acceptable, but you have to define it so that you're actually referencing the type of AI that you're actually
So
trying
just
to
like-
regulate.
Letting people know that you're using this type of AI.
Correct. Because they are really two different things.
Okay, so it's like a disclaimer. All right. I saw lots of lights go on.
Fire away.
I'm gonna stick to the committee because I have been working on that. Mr. Balich, question for Jason.
Yeah, well, I'm agreeing with our IT boss. And I understand what Mark was saying. And well, and in my opinion, what we have here, it says under human resources, AI must not replace employees. And then under source material backup, it says pretty much what he's saying, except what we're getting from our leader for the IT department is a little bit more depth. by saying training and that, all the stuff you brought up. So that's a good start to add what he has, so we could draw that up again and get it out. But that one we have right now addresses keeping the source data so nobody can make up stuff with AI, and then there's no backup to prove AI was wrong. So it's, what I see up there is very logical and to the point. And then if you add a little bit more structure with the training and the other items, I think it would behoove the committee to see it in writing and exactly it, and we can discuss it next time.
Right. It will
So-
definitely come back in
So I think
writing. So you're
we should
saying you
keep
agree
that-
with him?
My opinion, keep this as the basis and add to it. And what Jason has as a add to it was very, very logical.
Okay, so you would agree with Jason's additions?
Pardon me?
Keep what we have, add Jason's.
Yeah.
Good, okay. You're the vice chair, please go next.
I think we should have staff prepare this, bring it back to us and make changes as we go. We're on a good start. We're not the experts in IT. They are. Let them do their job, bring it back to us and we'll go forward.
Yep. Mark, addressing me. There you go.
Okay. So I would just say it is our job to put the language together. I don't want us to give up and just pass this off to staff when we still have a lot of good strides to make as a team and putting our minds together as the policymakers. So a couple of the headline items that I think we can have a couple sub points underneath, and I put this all in an email and I will be providing it to you, Chuck, Micah, everybody, whatever. I know I can't send it to the whole
If I
board.
could
just
ask,
saying.
please, we've been getting things with everybody's email. Just send it to staff and
Oh, okay.
and make sure that you say, I want this to go to,
Okay, got it. So anyway, the headline items that I would like to include in this policy. So the permitted platforms and software for AI that we're using. I don't know if we want one central repository where we can have just a list. So then a county department, when they're considering using an AI software, they could just reference that list and say, oh, this one's already approved. So something of that nature. I put a couple subblurbs in here too. Official account use. I think we need to have these AI platforms being used with an official Will County account. I wouldn't want to see, an individual in a department using their own personal email on a personal, account to do county business. I think we need to make it clear that it should be attached to a county-based email. For department-specific adoption, I think we should have, a process in which all the departments are determining what AI software they want to use, kind of like an inventory, but kind of not. Basically, what needs do they have and how can they be met with AI? And then on a department-by-department basis, we determine which ones we filter in and which ones maybe don't make the cut. And I think that would be a good spot where we can include this about can you say that term again? FedRAMP? What is that?
Yeah, FedRAMP.
FedRAMP, so that's
Yeah.
like a certification
It's a
already in place.
certification.
And I
Yeah.
think that would be a good spot where we could
Yeah.
talk about that. Human oversight and accountability, I know I've talked about that, and the jobs replacement, I don't need to talk about that again, but I'm gonna keep beating the drum on that because I think it's an important item. Yeah. There might not be. It sounds like there might be some consternation, but I just want to throw it out there again. Training and education, I included in that. Data security and confidentiality, that word. Jason, I don't know if this is the right way to phrase this, but is there a way to have a closed system and keep our, whatever AIs we're using all closed? So it's like,
Yes.
if we had like a policy where like, you can't use two AIs at the same time for a similar task, like building on it. I think that could be something that might help with the security or no?
Yes, I mean, there's that, but then there's also, and you gotta reference, is it machine learning or Gen AI? So with a Gen AI, you definitely want to use like one versus others. A lot of the like machine learning type things are like built into already existing products. Like Copilot is sort of like that. It's kind of like both. There's a few other ones that like from security software that I deal with that will give you some analysis, AI analysis, but it's very cleared out that it's generated by AI of what's going on. I think when you say closed, I think when you look at that is where is the data coming from? Is the data coming from the internet, or is the data coming from a trusted county source, like a database that we have or a set of files that we have? That's kind of what I would say would be open versus closed. And open is kind of whatever it can see.
Yeah, yeah.
It can run.
And I would just say, I think that's where we're really going to need IT help and your
Correct.
help on that, because that's something that I'm not too confident with. And then going into my last couple items, I would like this policy to include language that requires the IT department to conduct an audit of these AI tools. I think on a regular basis. I don't want to put more work on you guys, but I think it's not something that should just be an annual thing. I think maybe even on a monthly basis, there's a rolling audit that goes on. just
We
so
do
know.
have tools to detect it in our network, so we do have that ability already.
All right, cool. And I just think that that would just
Yeah.
be my other concept. And then with the analytical stuff, this might be just a sub point underneath everything. So generative AI, it's easy to put the disclaimer on, but when it's the analytical and everything learning, that makes me a little apprehensive. Do we want to include, something like a public statement or something somewhere that tells people like, our data analytics program uses artificial intelligence? Like, does that make sense? Is that too broad? I don't know, but
I would say that's too broad. I would say if you're using it for analytics, it just has to be noted that if you're using it to make a decision, that you have to verify it. So like if you're using a machine learning AI tool to say who gets this versus who doesn't, and it's based on just what it pulled in, like those kind of things need to be reviewed, but like something like spell check is pretty straightforward. So I would say if you're making like policy or like actual decisions based on what that AI is telling you, that's probably where you would need to have that in there, that it's you want a human reviewing that to verify that it's correct. That kind of goes back to what you guys were talking about with bias. There was a situation, I think it was in California, where, and this isn't like county type business, but it was where they were determining like SNAP benefits for people, and it was pulling it in AI, and it found out that it was actually cutting a lot of people off that necessarily shouldn't have been cut off. And luckily it was just in a test run. And that was a few years ago, but that's kind of shows you the dangers of using analytics to make decisions.
yeah, and that's where I just keep going back to
Yeah.
that human element thing. And I think that's like our real secret sauce in this whole thing. And I know humans can be wrong. We've seen it many
Oh, yeah.
times where humans on the county come to us with information and it's not necessarily verifiable or accurate, but we all accept it as gospel. So I just think, these roadblocks in place. So I've shared enough. I'm going to send that email through to Chuck and everybody. So thank
Very good list, Mark. And appreciate that. Mr. Oxley, you're the vice chair. Okay.
Keep it on.
Ms. Bullock, you are next.
I have two. One, does the fact that this has discussion on it in the agenda preclude us from making decisions or taking votes on things?
I think we can only do like a straw vote. Am I correct? Since it's not something,
Right, it's not something that's on the agenda to vote on, so we can't take a vote on it.
so we can get a kind of like I'm for this or I'm against,
Right. but-
like a straw poll.
Is there a,
Is that what they call that?
are we allowed to have motions? Okay,
Because it's a discussion only.
okay.
Okay, I'll give that to you in a second.
So, thank you. So with that in mind and listening to, I agree with you, Mark. I think, sorry.
It's a good list. But
Um,
yes, over here.
Chair Freeman, I agree with Mark.
Thank you.
That we need to be the ones starting this. I don't think we can be the ones who finish it, but I like that. I think our direction should be to take this document that's on the screen, bullet it out, add information where we can, and kind of give it back to you that way. Instead of making you create it and give it to us, we have a little more ownership and a little more understanding in it if we do it ourselves. And then we give it to you and you can go, okay, this is not right, you know, that kind of thing, and shore it up for us, using all the technical jargon that we'll probably misuse. So I like the direction we're heading. I like that document. I like us having a part in it to inform our understanding of it. So I think we're heading in the right direction.
Your lights gets me every time. Member Costa.
Just a ditto. I just want to concur with the other committee members on the sentiments of the direction that we're moving. I really like the idea of the training, and as policy is going to be created and we're creating this process to create policy, I also want us to think about the other side of policy when we roll this out and ensuring that we've got a good training program in place. Last month, we also talked about piloting a rollout with a smaller department just so that we could see what we've learned, you know, the things that we could improve on, the things that need to change. I think that's going to be important too. And I think that in this policy directive, I'd like to add explicit language on closed source material because we don't want any of our governmental data to leak out and to be shared and used. And so, you know, defining the different types of AI is going to be important. My last question is from last month, we talked about conducting a survey of the various departments to understand what are they using. This is not to get anybody in trouble. This is not to out anybody, but it's just to understand what is current practice, because practice is different from policy. And if we understand practice and learn what is usable and being done well, we can then begin to consider applying that into policy. So I think that survey is going to help to inform staff who is then charged with creating policy for us.
In regards to Member Costa, do we know what our departments are using right now?
We have a most of, like I said, most of it is transcribing software that people have used, and some that we've told people not to use just because what we've read about it. So I would say we have a good idea of what's out there, but like I said, most of it is transcribing. It's not actually, you know, using it for generating content. I know Mr. Mahoney brought up that they use ChatGPT to come up with like a phrase last, you know, they may be using it for things like that, but on a daily basis, we're not seeing that.
The EMA is using something as like a pilot.
So
too.
the EMA is a closed system and then we had this discussion, which kind of brought up the whole thing about we really need to have a policy for this because they came to us with a problem. Once again, I'm glad they came to us because we were at least able to vet it. And we were able to determine, yes, it stays contained in this, they call it a tenant, where they're working at. And basically what it does is they upload their emergency documents into it. And it has like the latest federal guidelines, and it looks at their policies and just basically gives them suggestions on what needs to be changed. So for them, it's not really replacing an employee, it's just helping them out to get through it faster because what used to take them months is now taking them weeks. And it just gives them more time to do other important things that they need to do. So that's a pilot that's been in place and it's probably been close to a year now. And that program, I don't think is ever going to change being open. You know, we don't train the model in that one, which is kind of one of the ones is like, if we're going to start with something, let's start with, we're not training the model. It's closed. It's only getting what we put into it. And that was one of the reasons why we kind of green lighted that one. We did have state's attorney involved in that as well, just to make sure that we weren't breaking any laws with that.
Right.
And so the only other big one that I know of, and like I said, this is another elected, their circuit clerk uses and it's not really an AI, it's more of like they're training a machine to basically click through like e-filing that comes in. And then it's still reviewed, it has to be reviewed by humans still at the end of the day, but it allows them to process the e-filing quicker. And that's a product that they got from Tyler Technologies. That's been in place for a couple of years now. It's not really AI, but it could fall under that if they ever wanted to generate anything. And that's something that would fall under this policy if that was the case. So those are the two big ones that I know of. But other than that, I'm not aware of any other department using AI for their day-to-day
I'm
work.
hoping we're.
And I'm hoping that's the case.
Before it
Yes.
gets totally out of control.
Do staff have access to things like Copilot and under our Microsoft product features?
They have.
It is AI.
They have limited access to Copilot. So Copilot is actually an additional license with Microsoft, and one, we can't afford the licensing for it, but two, that's not something that we looked at. We've actually restricted it to only our tenant, the pieces that are part of Copilot that we have to have, like spell check. That unfortunately they moved away from their spell check. We actually had everything turned off for Copilot, and then it broke spell check. So, we still need spell check to function. So we had to enable those features. So it is in limited use, but the Gen AI capabilities of it are not there. We would have to pay. It's roughly about $200 a month per user for that license. We are not paying that. That's a lot of money.
Okay.
So that's the reason why we don't have Copilot fully integrated.
So I know that there are some other people that are not on the committee that are wanting to pipe in. Are there anything else from the committee that is wanting to, Mr. Balich? Questions?
Yeah, after listening to the discussion and what you just said, to make things go a lot easier for our chief of staff and our chairs of committees. Now, would you be able to put all the minutes for the last 5 years, say, in a file that could be accessed by AI so that they could ask, like, I had a question about the VA. They were $500,000 short. I asked Jerry. Never. I
Jerry.
asked the question, right?
Yeah.
To other board members. Did we vote to give them the $500,000? I don't remember. Sherry don't remember. Elle didn't remember. Okay, so then after the meeting, I was going to ask Chuck. Chuck has to go to the minutes and start going through all the minutes, right?
You're wanting a broad search.
So is that something this AI could be used for to save a lot? So in other words, I would get access to it and I could ask the machine, hey, did we vote to give the VA the $500,000 they were short?
Yeah, I mean, you could, you would have to develop a model for that. So you would have to pick a provider like ChatGPT or something like that, which kind of falls under this, and then feed it that data and then ask those questions.
That's kind of where I think we could benefit, because I'm going to ask Chuck.
Absolutely.
I don't have to ask him. He's sitting
Staff
right
would
there.
love it.
He's sitting right
It-
there. Can you
Yeah.
tell me the answer like tomorrow or the next day?
Yeah, it's similar to like a Google, like when you search in Google and it tells you right up at the top, this is Gemini AI, and it gives you that AI result at the top. So it's disclosing that it's AI, but it is fairly accurate, and it's getting better every day, where if you ask it something, it does a very good job. Now that's pulling information from everywhere. And somebody said last week or last month, bad data in, bad data out. Same kind of thing applies. So if you're feeding this thing garbage, you're going to get garbage out. And it's the same principle with that. So if you had something like that, we built a model around that and just put the minutes in there, you would be pretty confident that it would be accurate. It's when it starts pulling in all these other things is where you get some gray area with the AI response.
So, Mr. Balich, would you like to remove your motion? Withdraw your motion, please. Yes, I can do that. I think you're 7 and I'm turning on all of them right now. Let's go back there. Go.
Yes, I would like to remove my motion.
Can we get a second on that?
Yes.
We have removed the motion. All in favor? I don't even know if I need to do that, but I'm always forgetting that one. Any other committee? We're good? All right. Mr. Butler.
So as far as the policy is concerned, I think that the machine learning is pretty basic. I think everybody here uses machine learning and, you know, there's no real scare there. But with the generative, I'd be very concerned about that. I know that we've talked about information getting out. I guess I'd be be more concerned about where the information is coming from, because that's very important, because it could come from Google, it could come from anywhere. I don't know. I messed around with AI once and I asked it to write an article and it wrote it. And I was like, wow. I said, give me the supporting evidence for that article. And it said it didn't have any, it embellished. So it could be very scary, because I could have said, create supporting documentation for that article, and it would have. So I think it's very important that we, and this is where we have to be in charge of where this information, does it have to be peer reviewed? Does it have to come from government, data banks, I mean, because basically wherever it comes from, we're saying that's truth. So that's something.
It's only as good as the information that's put into it.
Right. And then the other thing, as far as replacing people, I think it's important that there be required a outline, some sort of framework that is created for the AI, and that when the AI is asked for the information, that it completes the framework. And you don't just say, write me something that, write me a reason or to go against solar farms, and then just writes it up. I think that's when you start getting into trouble, and then bias of what the data that you're getting from comes into play. So I think those are some important considerations when we make this policy.
So Jason, how would we add any of that?
Well, I think we kind of address it if you guys address it as a closed
A closed circuit?
When it comes to AI, where that data is getting pulled from, and what they have permission to as well. So I don't want somebody from, let's just say, the recorder of deeds pulling in information from like the ICT department and then writing a document. Like it would only be restricted to their specific things they have permission to in the recorder office.
All right.
If that makes sense.
Mr. Richmond, did you want to come back and ask your question? And I appreciate you waiting. I hadn't forgot you. Oh, I think I turned to,
That's all right.
thanks, Tim.
No, it wasn't so much as a question as more as a statement in the advancements of technology, and the fact that I'm not looking to eliminate people. I'm not looking to take the human mind out of things. The human mind is the most complex instrument we have out there. The thing is being able to be responsive in a world that's extremely competitive. Will County, we're in competition with Grundy and Cook and everybody else in delivering a service. And the faster that we can turn around documentation, whether it's in land use, whether it's in marriage certificates, whether it's in that type of delivery of the service, because that's all we are. We're just a service industry. We don't produce anything. We don't manufacture anything. We have to deliver a product. And the faster that we can deliver that product, I'll use an example like in land use. If we can turn around the documentation that can deliver it to the developer, because time is money to them. And every time that we go and delay a project, whether it's days, weeks, or months, that costs the developer. And they in turn look at that and say, you know what, I can go to this county or I can go to that county. I can turn it around faster. It's going to cost me X number of millions of dollars to do that. And I can just move a few blocks away. That's significant. Why do you think people buy cigarettes in Will County over Cook County or whatever it is? It's because of the tax ramifications and the cost of doing business. And I'm looking at it from that perspective is we don't have to get rid of people. We just have to be able to turn around things faster.
And I do think the AI will help that. Will any of these policies, Jason, in your opinion, slow the process down?
No, I don't. If anything, it may accelerate some things, because the problem is right now is our kind of standard answer when people ask us about these things is kind of like, there's no policy in place. because it's like the Wild West. We really don't want to say yes to something that could potentially be a liability down the road. So I think if we had and that was one of the concerns that, like I said, when we were doing the EMA pilot project, is there is no policy to say, like, you know, what we can and cannot do. So that was kind of the thought process. So I think having a policy in place, whatever you eventually decide on, is going to help at least give guidance to the electeds and the departments to say, you know, that fits within our guidelines. Let's go and, you know,
Right. See,
look at this product
I think
from that
I'm just
perspective.
going to go out on a limb and say, I don't think there's anybody here that wants people to lose their job. I think that we all want their jobs to be more efficient
Correct.
and easier while being safe for the public.
Efficient and deliver the service faster
Right.
to the constituent or the
I'm
customer.
here to tell you, even the county clerk's office would love nothing more than to be able to help that person get out the door a little faster. So,
I was trying to look something up yesterday with the county clerk with a ballot certification, and it took me a long time.
it's that broad search that Mr. Balance was
Yeah,
referring to.
yeah. So it's
Thank you,
similar
Mr.
kind of thing.
Richmond. Anyone else? So I think at this point, we need to give direction to our staff. Is it possible for next month to have this written up as a policy so we can maybe start amending it and going through it?
No. I think what you're, you know, to go to.
I'm new to this, so
yeah.
I need to know how I'm supposed to proceed.
I think a policy can be, you know, fairly detailed or, you know, somewhat broad. The San Diego policy that we distributed.
Well, that was an
early-
ordinance.
Or an ordinance, I'm sorry. But again, it could be utilized as a policy, or it could be very detailed. I'll say this is that again, going to what member Revis was saying, is that you're right. The committee has the jurisdiction and the ability to craft that policy, but the committee would not necessarily be giving it away if, for example, you know, our staff, I collaborated with Jason's IT department to come up with a policy, bring it to the committee, and the committee says, yay or nay, I don't like it, I like this, you're missing this, you know, all those kinds of things. But, and I think it would take, we're not there yet. I think that we could begin work on something, but I think it would possibly be a couple of months before
Yeah.
we might be able to come forward with something, with a draft for the committee to decide on how they want it to
So
proceed.
our direction at this point is we need a survey.
Okay.
Everybody agree to that?
IT and staff to proceed forward.
What are you, 14? Member Bullock?
Is there a way that as a committee, we can, I know I'm gonna say the wrong words, and so you're just gonna correct me. That we can do like a group Google Doc or something along those lines? That we can take this and put it in, add bullet points and any other bullet points, and then give that framework to them to fill
Not
in?
without breaking OMA. Our state's attorneys right here, that's an OMA violation on so many levels. Our chief of staff, he would be the one who we would have to send all those things to. So Mr. Revis has his points, he's gonna send them to our chief of staff. He's gonna be sure they get to us. Because if he adds 2 or 3 of us, that's why those mass emails where everybody's on it is a problem. It's because if one person responds to it, we've all broken OMA. And we didn't even do anything, so it's an issue. Are you-
Wait, before you go over there.
Okay,
So can the direction be to take this this policy directive, pop it into its own document, add bullet points, some of the ones that, I mean, I wrote down what you discussed, some of the things that he brought up as well, for you to fit into it and bring that back to us next month as something for
Yes.
us to look at.
yes.
That's what we've been discussing so
Yeah.
far.
And a
That's
survey.
what we should do.
We can certainly.
Let them do their job.
We can certainly add those items, but again, we're still, the committee, I believe, is still at that policy directives. What are you going to do or what are the directives in terms of developing the policy? Actually developing the policy is where IT would sit down, that's where the rubber hits the road, so to speak. IT sits down, we craft something, we present it to the committee. The committee then decides what it likes and what needs to be added and go from there. And that is a process that'll probably take more than a month. We can certainly, though, kind of get this into more of the directives, so to speak.
He's saying government's slow. Did anybody not know that yet? Mr. Revis.
So I mentioned how I sent it to staff, my little list with some bullet points broken out, sub headings and then sub bullet points underneath. It's not a full policy, but it's got a lot of pieces of gold in there. I don't know if you saw it. I just sent it to you not too long ago, but I also forwarded in individual emails to those on the board here. I might have missed a few. I did not put it all in one email.
So let me suggest this. One of the reasons you get from county board staff, from me or from the liaison or any other member of the county board, you're all blind CC'd on everything. That is to prevent the county board members from engaging in a dialogue online, responding to emails to individuals. And then, someone says, hey, I don't like that part of the policy. We should change it to this. And then someone else chimes in and says, I kind of like it. I think it should stay. All of a sudden, right then and there, you're conducting government business outside of the purview of the public. I blind CC information to the county board members so that it is there as information, and then it comes back to a committee, and then all these things are worked out publicly at the committee level, which is why, again, a lot of times, if you want to work this out at the committee level, you want to develop your actual policy at the committee level, it will slow down to a crawl, right? But if you give IT, for example, an opportunity to create that policy and get a draft to you, then all of a sudden you can start responding to things, and we could probably reduce what may take 6 or 8 months or a year down to a couple of months if we work it through that way.
Okay.
But we have to do it.
Just
before the
understood.
vote.
So I'm just gonna get back to my other point. So, we're still allowed to email one-on-one with other county board
Yes.
members. There's no infraction there.
Too.
Yep, no infraction there. So everybody has a copy of the item that I've been referencing, and it's an individual copy, so you could look at it. If you want to provide feedback, you can do that. But I would just say, when we come back to next month's meeting, I think we should cap this discussion at like a 15-minute thing, because it's very exciting to talk about this, and we're finally working on a policy together, and I know everybody wants to do that. But if we just cap it to like a 15-minute discussion, kind of touch base on some of the items we want to follow back on, give further direction from there, we might be able to pick up pace on getting this final product produced. I really don't think we're months away from a final product. I think we're doing a lot of the groundwork now. And, this email, I don't know if you've seen it, it does contain a lot of what we talked about, so.
So, and I appreciate that. I spent a lot of time here today because I want to get this done. And the rest of the agenda is something that we can pause on. Dawn, did you have one more? Your light's still on.
I know. So you can incorporate pieces of what Mark sent and into that, because I think that's the big piece right there. And then these are the bullet points that would fall in between.
And including Jason's points as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
But again, I still think at that point
I don't
there,
mean in detail. I just mean an outline, just an outline like that.
yes, we can do that. But again, that is still an outline of how you want to proceed with developing a policy. The policy itself will be much more detailed, and it will involve not just, hey, we need to protect people. It would involve a dialogue on how we want to protect people and how we want to make sure that you can't do this to, you can't replace a position with AI. It may involve like what we can use, but we may talk about how we develop that list that can be used and how we have to proceed with getting something on the agenda for an IT review of software that might be used. So that's where the policy becomes more detailed, and that's what's going to take some time. But yeah, we can certainly get everything that was talked about here into an outline, but it is still an outline. I just want to.
No, I understand that. I think by you doing that and us seeing it before you send it there, it gives us, what we're saying is what we want to see in a policy is all this stuff. That way, when you develop the policy, you have a very good roadmap as to how to fill in the holes for us. And then we don't spend that time going back and forth going, well, we wanted this. Well, it wasn't in the original, that kind of thing. So I'm just trying to streamline as well.
Yeah, it's slow. All right, so I think we're good on that. Thank
Okay.
you, Jason.
No problem. Thank you.
Number 3, we are going to we're going to move forward with number 3 next month. And we do have to talk about this 5-year plan.
put it as number 3. Put it as number 1, please.
Okay. I do not have any other old business. No new business. I have no announcements. I think we're doing good on the AI. Executive session, I do not think I have any need for. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Go move. Second.
Motion by Balich, second by Oxley. We are adjourned until March 3rd